Move the Ball Monday. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while since I've talked to you on a Monday, but yesterday inspired me to come and talk with you a little bit today. As many of you know, I am on an empathy journey. I have this ridiculous idea that each of us has the ability to spark an empathy revolution throughout our communities, throughout our countries, and ultimately around the globe. I finished the Shonda Rhimes series on Queen Charlotte this weekend, and it is a beautiful love story that challenges our beliefs about whether or not people who have mental health conditions, sometimes serious mental health conditions, deserve love, deserve the ability to work, um, deserve the ability to have children. And yesterday was Mother's Day, and I had the opportunity to sit in a worship service and hear the person giving the sermon share with the audience that people with mental health conditions have no earthly business raising children. And it made me think about what it takes to see someone having a mental health episode on a train, and they have no weapon. They have not done anything violent in this instance. You know nothing of their criminal history. And you decide that you're going to put that person in a chokehold because you're going to protect everyone else. And when I think about this empathy journey, one of the things that I think we need to all be able to do, because consistently I've heard people say that this has nothing to do with race. I've seen one of our nation's governors suggest that the ex Marine was being a good Samaritan. And I've been in church all my life. I know many of you know that. And the Good Samaritan story is actually about the person who helps someone for whom no one else was willing to help. And I get it. I understand why we are afraid of people whose brains don't work like ours. But I challenge us to dig into radical empathy, which means what does it look like to demonstrate empathy towards someone else whose lived experience is drastically different from ours? And so I got a little exercise for you this week, and I want you to keep everything else the same, but just change the race of the people involved, swap them, and see if then you still have the same perspective, because people have raised over $1 million to be able to defend um, the right to choke someone to death in a public space. So I want you to imagine that it was a white person having a mental health crisis on a train. And I want you to imagine that they did not have a weapon. And I want you to imagine that no one knew their criminal history. And I want you to imagine that a Black ex Marine choked this white person having a mental health crisis, who used to dress up as Michael Jackson and choked him for 15 minutes. Now, it is not good science to change two variables. And so, this, I'm going to warn you, is not good science. But imagine that Black ex Marine, a man, was choking a white woman who was having a mental health episode on a train and choked her for 15 minutes. You see, part of the reason why our brains can't go there is because no one would allow that to happen. Someone would stop it, because somebody would look at that Black ex Marine choking the life out of a person and see that as barbaric and inhumane. I wasn't on the train. I imagine I probably would be afraid if a person was having a mental health crisis in front of me. But we have got to stop making excuses for holding someone down for 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 15 minutes, and choking the life out of them. Something has happened to us if we have the ability to do that. And what I love about Queen Charlotte is that as I'm watching this show, I'm grappling with, can you have 13 healthy, well-adjusted children and have a mental health condition? The answer is yes. Can you have someone marry you and love you and have a mental health condition? The answer is yes. Are there things that we do to people who have mental health conditions that cause their situation to be worse? The answer is yes. So it's May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I know that many of you are actually struggling with some kind of mental health condition. And I need you to know that you deserve to be whole and well and a member of society and to live life just as anyone else. Just as anyone else. And I am not here to say that I would not have been afraid. I probably would have. But I hope to God that I have zero ability to choke someone for 15 minutes. And if you think that is what is acceptable, I want you to imagine that you are the one being choked for 15 minutes, for whatever reason. You see, that is what I believe is the empathy step we need in this country in order to be able to make more humanistic decisions. That's what I think we need. And in the meantime, we need legislation that at least makes it illegal for you to choke me to death. It's Move the Ball Monday. We've got plenty of work to do.